Joining me live from the US is Marianne Williamson, political activist and author. Good evening to you, Marianne.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are hearing mixed emotions from this response, a mix of anger, fear, also celebration. What are your thoughts on this decision?
Well, I think it's very disturbing. I think abortion is a moral decision, but I think it's an issue of private morality and not public morality. I don't think the government has any right to tell a woman what she can do, not only with her body, but with the next 18 years of her life. I think this is an attack not only on reproductive rights, but on a woman's agency, on a woman's decision-making about things that go way beyond just one physical experience. So it's very, very disturbing, and not a time in our country where we needed one more thing to be just so divided over. It's very dangerous, very dangerous.
Do you think men should be allowed to make votes like this and decisions?
Well, I'm sorry, what was the beginning of your sentence?
Should men be allowed to make these decisions and vote on these decisions?
Well, I mean, where are you going to go with that in terms of the Supreme Court? Are you going to say that only gay people can decide issues for gay people? It should have to do more with freedoms. It should have more to do with the Constitution. The Constitution can be read, obviously, different ways on this issue. But to those of us who are pro-choice, who do feel that a woman should have the right to have this, it has to do with freedom. It has to do with liberty. It has to do with the idea that any of us should be able to live our lives as we see fit. I think when it comes to sexual issues, when it comes to issues having anything to do with the bedroom, with the exception of sex with children, I don't think the government should have any say whatsoever. And what we've got now, of course, as you presented before, is that some states are going to codify, already have. Gone into session, codified it already. But in other states, these trigger laws, some states are even planning not to make any exceptions for incest or for rape. They're also planning, some states, severe criminalization of anyone who aids and abets. You couldn't even be an Uber driver who takes someone somewhere. If you hear that they're even mentioning having an abortion, you could be criminally prosecuted. This is going to turn people against other people. It's going to spread so much fear and so much pain. And of course, there will be the proverbial back alley abortions. This is going to cause a lot of horror and a lot of suffering, I'm afraid.
And how concerned are you, Marianne, about it becoming a healthcare crisis as well, especially as you've been mentioning, you know, if women are unable to travel to more lenient states and to turn at home or unregulated methods of terminating a pregnancy?
Women used to suffer and die. Women would become barren from the back alley abortions. I know of people who have died. What's going to happen now? Some of these women that you're talking about, yes, they could, as the president said in the piece that you showed, you can travel to another state. Not every woman can just travel to another state. You know, I live in a really big country, and sometimes another state would be like going from one side of Australia. You know, it's not something everybody can necessarily do. So of course that will be a healthcare crisis if the woman takes it upon herself to try to get an abortion, some kind of at-home abortion kit. I mean, the possibilities here are truly horrendous.
How hard is it going to be for people, including women, medical experts, lawyers, to get their head around these new laws, especially in the immediate term?
Well, on one hand, we've been talking about it happening for years. People have been warning us it would happen, and that's why there's a lot of frustration today with the Democratic Party. They had plenty of opportunity to codify this. It did not have to come to this. So there's a lot of frustration and anger about that. Getting our heads around it it's the shock, even though we can't say it's deeply surprising, because there was the leaked document, the decision that was leaked a couple of months ago, I think, I'm sure you know. But still, it's so shocking. No one can believe. I mean, if you look at your laws in Australia, the whole world is moving in a more open-minded, appropriate direction on this issue. And then this is, unfortunately, I must say, one of many areas where the United States is moving in a regressive and repressive direction. And our Supreme Court is now in the hands of people who are really, there's a desire here to redesign society in certain ways that are very disturbing. there is a lot of fear here that they will not stop with this. I mean, many of us are so upset tonight. Those people are, popping the champagne bottles. The Supreme Court justices who were in the majority on this opinion are receiving champagne and fruit baskets and congratulatory telegrams and flowers to their homes tonight. So they're very high on this, and they plan to continue. That's what many of us are concerned about. What about the rights of LGBTQ? What about the rights of transgender? One of them has even made reference to the fact that maybe they should go for contraception. I mean, this is a very disturbing line of development. But yeah. I will also say it's an awakening for the American people, and I think it's an awakening for the American woman. This isn't over. This is going to be a painful struggle, perhaps, but this story is not over.
Well, we really appreciate your time and getting your opinions on it, Marianne. Before we let you go, you are heading to Australia in July to a number of
yes,
venues.
I am.
Yes, looking forward to hearing more. So you're going to Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. We've got some details up on screen there as well.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited about it. And Melbourne, and then I'm going over to New Zealand. I have been there twice. Very much looking forward to traveling there once more. And I just think it's, I look forward to it. I'm very excited about it.
Well, we look forward to having you here in Australia and really appreciate your time today. Marianne Williamson, political activist and author, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.